I will be honest, I thought this was the original story for Bluebeard. When I saw the audiobook on the audio store, of course, I was actually very interested in hearing a full-on audio recording performance of the infamous tale of Bluebeard, which is one of the few stories that I grew up not hearing about, and apparently it's very good that I didn't hear it from a very young age. At least that was the impression I was getting. But what I got instead was not the classic Grimm Brothers Bluebeard, where the man in question actually had a blue beard. Not saying that's tickling impossible, but sounds more fairy tale. Instead, I got the historic event of 1919's Bluebeard, which was very much a real person apparently, and that's really lived up to the man's near infamy. The main difference between this Bluebeard to the fairy tale is that of pretty much of how they pick their victims. Hi, I'm Balver, and welcome to this review of Bluebeard um, from 1919, I guess. Still called Bluebeard, but you may find it on the audio store. The story begins about a woman going through the newspaper and caught attention of a very unique ad placement about a man seeking a marital partner in the given neighborhood. Now, this woman isn't exactly desperate or insecure, but she's coming from a place that she knows this is a very foolhardy intended, as it's quite a silly request. But as a person that's played safe mostly throughout her life and a little bit bored with it, she decided to be a little daring, sort of like brave the cave, sort of were. And of course, she goes into it with very low expectations. But then we're introduced to the man Walter, who just seems to be like the absolute perfect fit. Charming, handsome, I suppose those are bad things, but well mannered, exciting, and interesting. All the bells and whistles. Not a hint of the possibility that this man is dangerous. And if you were seeing him the first time, I guarantee you weren't either. That is until the very next scene, where in the dual narration, Walter is being interrogated out of his gentleman attire and instead in a orange jumpsuit, being questioned by the police. The purpose of this type of narration is very engaging because it's not enough that we already can guess that Walter has already been caught, but we're just seeing two different sides of him immediately. We're seeing the front he pulls up for people of interest, being well polite and exciting, or just flat out interesting. And then we just see a man that's simple of a liar or fraud that was simply caught and yet still trying to deny um, all accountability of his given actions, like a naughty kid whose lies finally caught up with him. But that's not what keeps the story engaging. Was that why we found out what happened to Walter? We still don't know what happened to Kathryn. And as the story goes on, um, as Walter's crimes come more into the light and more evidence is built against him, we still don't know what happened to Kathryn as she's going through her interactions with Walter, because at the very beginning, it just still seems all perfect. She didn't just date him and they got married, although they did got married within a few weeks with quite a few concessions. Mostly, if anything would happen to him, she would inherit stuff and not him. They just actually had the picnics, they had the dates, they had the interactions. And then once she learns more about Walter's personality and life story, she just simply fell for him more and more. And yes, they got married. But it's but even after the marriage, Walter didn't just change immediately. He changed incredibly slowly. uh, there are moments where he was just playing obvious that there's something wrong with this guy, and he's definitely not who he says he is. But for Kathryn, even though she's very smart and very self-aware, she it's still incredibly hard to detect because he is just simply that convincing. You wouldn't, and that's why we're introduced to jumpsuits, Walter in custody, because even without reading the story summary or without this interaction, we wouldn't we wouldn't see the basically the facade of it all, and that is Kathryn's journey. She begins to doubt, and the more she doubts, the more Walter does small things that make her basically more vulnerable, such as isolating her from her original friend groups and even convincing her to move town under the guise of temporarily. And when she even had to go to the shops to buy food and do small chores, she was still being monitored by a guard. And even living in the 1990s, where women were basically, you know, uh, put on a bit of a leash, this is still very odd behavior for the given time. And what you're rooting for is she can snap out this delusion or illusion that Walter has so carefully built up, and she can get away. Or can she confront and overpower Walter, which seems highly unlikely because, as we said, we already know he's in custody, but we have yet to determine the case with Kathryn and just exactly how dangerous Walter is. Hmm. That's the end of the review. Thank you for listening. Overall, the whole thing was a remarkable performance for an audiobook. Both of the actors playing the characters, as well as the ambient noises in the background, to really solidify us, the audience member, being there in a given circumstance. Plus, the ambient music to add tension and whimsy is. I think I hit the mic. Just really builds to all come together like a full-on double feature film. So yeah, if you're interested in a murder slash mystery, have a look on the Audible store for yourself. Titled Bluebeard. Until next time.